Well, welcome. Thanks for tuning in to a special edition of The View from the Pew. I say special. I think it's very special because I have here with me a member of Oak Hills who is also a member of my own family, my daughter Abby. Abby, tell everyone how old you are. I remember how old you are, but I want you to tell those listening.
15.
15.
I'm going to be a sophomore this year.
Sophomore where?
At Gladstone High School.
Which right now means sitting in the dining room with a laptop.
We're on Zoom classes,
Zoom.
yeah.
And I wanted to ask Abby to come and share a little time and reflect because her view from the pew is kind of unique. She's the daughter of the pastor. Oftentimes, as she listens to the sermon, she's listening to her dad. And that's a fairly unique way to experience church and to experience worship and to listen to a sermon. And so I wanted to invite Abby to share a little bit. First of all, what's it like for you to sit in a pew and listen to the sermon when it's me up there and you know me, not just as pastor, but as dad? What's that like? How do you think that's different from what maybe other people experience in church?
I mean, it's changed over the course of me growing up. Like when I was little, I was kind of annoyed. Like, oh my gosh, I just want to be coloring it. Like, why is dad up there? Like, why can't I bug him? He's talking to people is just annoying that you were busy. But as I've grown up and like started to be able to understand it more, it's been pretty special because because I've grown up in a house with you, I'm able to understand the way that you explain things a lot better. And I think that that's kind of a perspective that not everyone gets to have because like I am in the house with you all the time, so I know the way that you talk and what you mean by certain things, and I think that that's helped me understand sermons better. And also, like sometimes it's funny because I'll have overheard you talking about your sermon in preparation through the week, and when you're up there, I'll be like, oh, I just heard him talking about that the other day, because when you were preparing for the sermon. Or sometimes you'll do little anecdotes from our family life, and you'll like get some of the details wrong, and I'll laugh at that. I'm like, oh my, no, I was not the one in trouble there. It was Josiah, something like that. Like, there's plenty of times where I have an extra layer of like knowledge about the sermon just because I'm related to you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So would you say that in general, because I'm not just pastor, but I'm also dad, that becomes a helpful thing for you in church, or is that what would you say are the drawbacks about being the daughter of the pastor?
I mean, most of it's wonderful. I love having you as a dad, and I love your job, and I love this church. But there are a couple things, like sometimes it's kind of strange because I feel like everyone in the church knows me when I don't necessarily know them.
Sure.
Sometimes a church member will come up to me like, hey, Abby, how are you doing? Do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't necessarily know everyone in the church.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of everyone.
Sure.
And sometimes that's a little weird, or sometimes like right now, like last minute person being called to do the view from the view. Like I just have to do things because you're my dad, which isn't a bad thing. It's a great opportunity to grow and learn and get more job practice, I guess. But
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely different than just being a normal teenage girl church attendee,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad. There are plenty of benefits too.
Okay. So different topic. As a teenager, as a high schooler, living through COVID, starting in on a school year that is going to look so different from normal. For you, in your own faith, what does your faith do to sustain you or help you through a pretty scary and uncertain time? I mean, how has that been helpful to you, knowing that there's this faith inside of you?
I think it's definitely been a big factor in being able to stay strong and hold on and whatnot. God has given me a great opportunity. I've been involved in a club called Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's just starting up at my school, and that has been a great way to connect with other believers and have some sort of fellowship, even if it's over Zoom, through this time. That's been a really important piece of my life. And I also think that God has blessed me with a strong enough family and strong enough situation that I'm able to reach out to others and help them, because a lot of my peers are struggling, whether it's mentally or like emotionally. Lots of people are struggling right now, and I think that that's been a way not only for me to make more friends and strengthen my friendships, but also to share the gospel. And I've had multiple conversations with people over social media that I think partly have stemmed out of the pandemic, and about people questioning, like, oh my gosh, like, I need something else to rely on. I need something bigger.
Yeah.
And that's been really cool to be able to watch and see people grow closer to God or start their relationship with Jesus, and like God through me as a step in that is really a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Just to see the ways that a hard situation can turn into a fruitful situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So, getting back to the sermon from last Sunday, which came from Romans chapter 8, Larry Totsky preached for us. I know, Abby, through the years I've been impressed with your sermon note-taking. I don't know how you acquired that skill, but you seem to have a way of capturing the key points, sometimes in ways that go beyond what I even intended in what I was presenting. And so I'd love to hear if there were takeaways for you. I know that Larry kind of broke the passage down into 5 key words. I think they were suffering, adoption, inheritance, hope, and heaven. And as you listened and kind of thought through what was presented, were there any key takeaways that you found particularly helpful or new or insightful?
Yeah, I really liked all the points that Larry made. One that really stood out was the word inheritance. I had never really thought about inheritance before. I mean, like, my great-grandma died and my mom got some stuff, but I've never really thought about that before in my own life. And hearing it in the Bible, and that we are all, as children of God, we are his heirs. Like, that was a new thing for me. Like, oh my gosh, Jesus is an heir to God, and so are we. And we don't have to earn salvation. It's a free gift because we are his heirs, and we don't have to work for it. We don't have to do all the right things. It's just what comes with being his child. And that was a really powerful concept. I was glad that Larry explained it that way. It was really cool.
Oh, good. Yeah. Thank you. Anything else that you want to share as we wrap up our time with the view from the pew? Final parting words from Abby Sanderson.
I am praying for all of you, and I am so grateful for this wonderful church community.
Hey, thank you. We'll see you next week on The View from the Pew.
All right.